All right, so picture this. You're traveling, right? And the smells from the local restaurants are just incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And you're super excited to like dive into the food scene. But then comes the moment of truth.
Okay.
You get the menu, you see the server, and suddenly you feel that confidence kind of wobble a little bit.
Yeah, you're not sure exactly how to ask or what to say.
Yeah, exactly. And that little bit of like ordering anxiety is exactly what we are going to be tackling in this deep dive.
I think what's really interesting here is that something as practical as just getting food can actually highlight a bigger point about language, which is that language isn't just about knowing words. It's about confidently navigating these everyday social situations.
That's a really good point.
And sometimes even simple phrases. You know, they can feel a little daunting in a new environment where you're not familiar with the language.
For sure, for sure. So to make sure you feel confident and ready, we've got a really great resource that we're looking at today.
Okay.
It's called How to Order Food in English, and it's from the EnglisPodcast series.
Sounds useful.
Yeah, it's basically like your backstage pass, you know, giving you the key phrases and strategies to confidently order whatever food you're looking for, whether you're in a busy cafe or a formal restaurant, or just grabbing something really quick.
Right, so no matter the setting, you're covered.
Yeah, exactly. And our goal is to break down this material and simplify it so that you can feel ready to communicate your order in a smooth and clear way.
Exactly. Our mission is to really distill the essentials, like the language, the practical approaches, and real-world examples, so you feel prepared to ask for food effectively in any English-speaking context.
Right, let's jump right in.
Okay.
First things first, often the first hurdle is just getting someone's attention, right?
Right. You can't just like telepathically send your order to them.
Exactly. So the source gives us a couple of really useful ways to do this.
Yeah, the first one is that classic, excuse me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like your go-to option. It works well in most situations.
Yeah.
And then you've got, hi, can I order? That's if the atmosphere feels a little more relaxed, a little more casual.
Right. Excuse me. Definitely feels more universally polite.
Yeah.
Now, what about when you open the menu and it's like reading a novel, or everything sounds so good that you have no idea what to choose?
Yeah, that's when asking for recommendations can be a real lifesaver.
It really is. So what phrases should we keep in mind for these situations?
Well, the source suggests a couple of good strategies. The first one is, what do you recommend?
Nice and direct.
Exactly. It invites the server to share their opinion and their knowledge. The second option is, what's popular here?
I love that.
This one's good because it can give you an idea of what other people are enjoying.
Right. Right.
And it might even lead you to try some local favorites that you wouldn't have thought of otherwise.
It's like getting an insider tip without even knowing any locals.
Exactly.
Okay, so you've got their attention, you've maybe got some ideas about what you want. Now comes the actual ordering.
All right, time to place the order.
Yeah, and we've got a few options here, each with slightly different levels of formality.
Yeah, that's right. The source highlights this well. For a generally polite and effective approach, I'd like the dish, please, works really well in almost any situation.
That's a good one to remember.
And then if the setting is more casual, like a cafe or a diner, then can I get the dish is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And if you want to be extra polite, or if it's a more formal environment, you could say, could I have the dish?
So it's like we're moving along a spectrum of politeness here.
Precisely, could I have?
Yeah.
Just implies a little more deference, which can be appreciated in those more formal settings.
That nuance about formality is really helpful to understand.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about getting the words right, it's also about setting the right tone.
Absolutely.
Now, what about when you want to personalize your meal a little?
Okay.
Maybe because of a dietary restriction, or maybe you just have a strong preference.
Yeah, customizing your order is super important. And the source gives us some simple but very effective phrases for this.
Okay, like?
Well, one essential one is no onions, please.
Right.
Which is really important if you have allergies or just don't like onions.
Of course.
And for those times when you want to add a little something extra, can I get that with extra cheese?
Oh, yeah. Gotta love extra cheese.
Exactly. These little tweaks can really make a difference.
Totally.
Yeah.
And of course, no meal is really complete without something to drink.
True.
And maybe a dessert at the end.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what do we need to know to order those?
Well, for drinks, it's really straightforward.
Okay.
Just use the phrase, I'll have a drink.
Simple and effective.
Exactly. So you could say, I'll have a tea, or I'll have some water, whatever you'd like. And then for dessert, what desserts do you have? Is the perfect way to find out what your options are.
Great. So we've got a good collection of phrases.
Yeah.
but I think it really helps to see them in action.
Absolutely. So the source gives us some great example dialogues that take place in different kinds of eateries.
Perfect. Let's take a look.
Let's start with a casual cafe setting.
Okay, so in this cafe exchange, the server starts with a friendly, "Hi, what would you like?"
Okay.
And the response is, "Can I get a latte and a blueberry muffin, please?"
Right, to the point.
Exactly. Notice how they use "can I get here," which fits that relaxed atmosphere.
Uh-huh.
Then the server asks a very common question, "For here or to go?"
Yeah.
And the reply is a simple, "To go, thanks." It's a pretty brief interaction.
Short and sweet. Now let's imagine we're in a more upscale restaurant. How does the ordering flow change?
Okay, well, in a restaurant, the server might open with a slightly more formal, "Are you ready to order?"
Okay.
And a good response would be, "Yes, I'd like the grilled salmon with mashed potatoes, please."
Using that like phrasing?
Exactly, which is a little more appropriate for the setting.
Uh-huh.
What's interesting here is that the server then asks, "How would you like that cooked?"
Oh, yeah.
So the diner then specifies, "Medium, please."
So you might need to be prepared for that kind of follow-up question.
Exactly. Depending on what you order, they might want to know how you prefer it cooked.
Makes sense. Okay, and lastly, let's look at ordering at a fast food place where things are usually very quick.
Yeah, speed and efficiency are key here.
Exactly. So how does that play out in the dialogue?
Well, in this case, the cashier's opening is very direct. "What can I get for you?"
Straight to the point.
Yeah, and the order is equally straightforward. "I'll have a cheeseburger meal with fries and a Coke."
Nice and simple.
Mm-hmm. And then the cashier typically asks, "Anything else?" To which the response is, "No, that's all, thanks."
So you can see how the language adapts to the pace and context of the situation.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered the standard ordering situations.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens if things go a little off script?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Like, what if you don't understand what the server says, or you suddenly change your mind about what you want?
Those are really important situations to be prepared for.
For sure.
So if you don't understand something the server has said, a really helpful phrase is, "Sorry, can you repeat that?"
Yeah.
It's polite, and it clearly signals that you need them to say it again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it avoids any awkwardness or miscommunication.
Right. And then if you've already ordered, but then you decide you want something different, there's a good way to handle that too.
Okay, how?
You can say, "Actually, can I switch the fries to a salad?"
I like that.
Yeah, but it actually just kind of softens it a little bit.
Right, it makes it sound less demanding.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay, last but not least, the final stage of the dining experience, paying the bill.
Yes, the moment of truth.
What phrases do we need to know for that?
Well, when you're ready to pay in at a restaurant, the standard phrase is, "Can I get the bill, please?"
Okay.
But in a fast food setting, you probably won't need to ask for the bill directly.
Right.
The cashier will usually just ask you, "Is it card or cash?"
So be ready to answer that.
Exactly.
Wow, we've covered so much in this deep
I
dive.
know, right?
We talked about getting attention, asking for recommendations, different ways to actually place your order,
Wow.
how to customize it, how to order drinks and dessert,
Yeah.
and even how to deal with those unexpected moments like needing something repeated or wanting to change your order.
We even covered how to pay.
Yeah, it's amazing how many little situations can come up.
It is, and it's really cool how these simple phrases can make such a big difference.
Totally. They're like the building blocks of a smooth and confident dining experience.
Exactly. Having these basics down can really reduce anxiety and make eating out in English-speaking places so much more enjoyable.
Absolutely. So you've now got this toolkit of phrases and you've seen them in action.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's something to think about. Even with these essential tools, the way service is provided and expected can actually vary quite a bit from place to place.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, even within English-speaking countries, there can be subtle cultural differences.
Right.
So what other aspects of dining etiquette might you want to explore?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like maybe looking into tipping customs in different regions?
Oh, yeah.
Or understanding how menus are typically structured in different types of restaurant?
I like...
It could be a really interesting way to become even more confident and comfortable as an interactional diner.
For sure. Food for thought.
Exactly.
Food for thought.
Literally.
Exactly.
All right, thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, happy eating.
Bon appétit.
Until next time.
See you later.
Bye.